Clear of the closing doors, please.
What up, son? What up? Grind and Pivot, Louis Max, Queens, New York. Today, I have the honor of being with New York's #1 accountability coach. Not sure what that means, but we're definitely going to hear it. But no doubt, she is #1 in my book. That is for sure. Amy Eisner-Warshaw. What's up, baby? How you doing?
I'm good. What's up, Louis?
Great to have you.
What's happening there in Queens today?
Oh my God, Queens is rocking, like you know, because you're from Queens. You're an original Queens girl, right?
Yes, very close to my heart. I always find that people from Queens are just a little bit better than the other boroughs.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So we'll get into the whole accountability thing because I definitely need someone to be accountable to. But let's go back a little bit. I I know that you were heavily into the whole spinning phenomenon back in the day. Tell us about spinning and the whole soul cycle phenomenon.
Well, I have been spinning before Soul Cycle started. And it's interesting that you hear younger people say like they think Soul Cycle started this whole spin movement. But it really started about 25, 30 years ago with Johnny G. He was a cycling coach. And he developed actually spinning as an indoor way of professional bikers and bikers to train off season. So then it became this inside gyms phenomenon. So I started about 25 years ago at New York Sports Club with a woman, Dorsey, and she actually was one of the women who started the Zone out in the Hamptons. So, and she really helped in terms of that spin vibe and that spinning understanding. She was really the person that brought it in my mind, like really blew it up in New York. But about, I guess it's now 12 years ago, the first Soul Cycle opened, and it started with 3 women sitting at a table. One was an instructor at Reebok Club, and 2 others took her class, and they were like, you need to go out and do this on your own. So there was the money person, the spin person, and the PR person all came together and started the Soul Cycle phenomenon.
Gotcha. So for those of us listening that might not know, give me an idea what spinning actually is in a nutshell.
It's really hard to say what spinning is in a nutshell because I think people have, I hate to like almost bastardize what spinning is. So spinning now is whatever somebody makes it. But the original thing of spin is basically take what would be an outdoor ride and duplicate it inside. So it's basically like you train for anything. You start off slow, let's say a flat, go up to a little bit of a hill, little bit harder of a hill where you maybe have to stand, then a grinding hill, come down, blah, blah, blah. You know, and the length of that, the depth and the length of that changes based on who the instructor is and the experience of the riders in the class. Right. So that's really what it is. And then Soul Cycle started and put it was a dark room with the lights, and it was about the yoga kind of yogi inspirational part to it.
Right. So there was like the instructor was a big deal, like kind of a motivator, almost like what the Peloton guy does, right? In a way.
Oh, 100%. And there are a bunch of the Peloton instructors that actually started at Soul Cycle and left Soul Cycle, did some other things, and then came into Peloton. So most of the people who taught at Peloton or teach at Peloton, a lot of them were spin instructors elsewhere and have a theater background, because people have said to me all the time, well, why didn't you ever try out the Peloton? And you have to know how to be, it's like the acting part isn't that part, but you're playing to a camera a lot.
You gotta be on. You gotta be on. You have to be on, basically.
You have to be on differently. You really have to be on like what you say you're doing.
Sure. I gotcha. Cool. All right. Enough with the spinning. We don't need to give Soul Cycle too much more.
No, we don't.
Exactly. So what the hell is an accountability coach? Give us the rundown.
So basically, everybody makes excuses and has judges in their head saying, do you really want to do this? Do you really need to do this? So we have our own demons. And the angel, the devil kind of thing on our shoulders. And so it's the kind of that devil judgy kind of side of us going, you really don't have to push that hard. You really don't have to do it. And that is just, that's all, it's actually a survival instinct that we have in us. So I work on telling people, like, is that thought in your head really, like, is it real? Like, if what you're saying and what you're hearing and because your thoughts are going to be your actions. So if your head is being negative and like, that's going to be too hard, or I don't want to do this, you're not going to do it. You're not going to play it out. Cool. So what I do is I basically say to people when they come to work with me in fitness or whatever I'm working with them on, is you can't use the words can't, won't, shouldn't, couldn't, any of those negative words. And if they do, and I've done this, I walk out.
Really?
I do. Because my feeling is yes, I don't do it in the beginning, but if you're continuously doing it, then people will blame me for not getting them where they want to be, where it's actually just the thoughts of their head, not allowing them to move forward.
Interesting. So how did the pandemic change or affect your business?
Oh God, it changed it. All of a sudden, I can tell you March 11th, March 13th, you pick one of those days and it shut down. So, there was an online industry, right? Peloton had an online industry. A few of the other places did. But all of a sudden, like the mom and pop, like everybody now had to pivot to go online, and nobody knew how long it was going to last. So a lot of people said, this is going to be over by the summer. This is fine. They're just going to take a break, hang out, like create content, blah.
Right.
But what happened was mom and pops, all of a sudden, everybody was throwing up shit online, everybody. And I didn't do it at first. I mean, I was doing corporate fitness and I was doing something else. But for me, it took me a lot of time to figure out how to do it and how to do it right. And because I watched a ton of stuff, because now that was the only way to be in contact with your clients or to reach a broader audience. So there are a lot of people who built an incredible business, who had brick and mortar studios, and there were other people who used it. Like I just used it really to keep my group kind of connected,
in touch,
and just to say, like, we don't know how long we're going to be in this. So I actually did my first year of online training free. But it changed the industry totally. And it also, look at the Peloton stock. Look at all these other stocks. I'm just using them. Cool. Look at the fact that Lululemon bought Mirror, right?
Sure.
So this aspect of stay at home exercise, people felt we're going to be there forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they kind of do, actually. I mean, I've watched the stuff, and I love it. I mean, yours is, it's like loose, but it's not loose when I watch. It's
me.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like kind of like I don't know, you're trying
quirky.
I don't know about quirky, because it's funny when people, you're on for a certain thing and you're showing the people, you're doing your thing, you're doing the exercise, but it's cool because it's kind of like it's just kind of naturally loose. It's not really it's not rigid. Where you do it is, different spots, sometimes outside, sometimes in Central Park, sometimes it might be in different locations, but it's still, framed pretty cool, where we're gonna do this and let's get down to it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I always laugh, like my friends are like, will look at it and go like, Amy, like brush your hair, or like, like do something like that. And I'm like, I don't want to look made up. I want people to look at me and go, she's kind of like me. Like, right. You don't brush your hair every day when you don't need to. It was right. Like,
regular.
Or like,
yeah, I hear you.
You're not, and my friends will like put makeup on and this and that. I'm like, that's not me. And I don't want to project something out there. And I don't want other people to think in order to work out, you need to look a certain way and you need to prep a certain way. Like, get up off your asses and do something.
Definitely. You think joining a gym is necessary these days? What do you think about that?
I never thought joining a gym was necessary. I think the aspect of joining a gym is truly for socialization competitive, like there's a competitive nature to it. Some people like to be around other people who are maybe stronger or better than them. You say you're going to go with somebody to exercise, but you're in a class where it's so freaking loud, you don't talk to them, and there's all these other people around, but it makes you feel like you're part of a community, whether you're truly part of it or not.
Oh, interesting.
And I think people miss that. So I think the aspect is everyone thinks they're part of something because they have friends on Instagram, but those people aren't their friends. They go to a class. Like I say, so much about exercise in certain environments is insincere sincerity, which is why when I teach classes, I like to teach small classes. And I like it to
be quality necessarily over quantity.
And sincerity. It's like, you know what? Most of my clients are honestly over 35, probably over 40. And they want to work out smart, efficiently, and effectively. And they want a group of people who are like them.
Yeah. Like-minded for sure.
Yeah. 100%.
I like that. That makes sense. I never really knew that. So I have a question. I've been thinking about this, food. I know you're a big foodie. You love food, especially someone told me that you like broccoli a lot.
You are quite the consumer of food.
Quite the consumer. So is it beneficial to train on an empty stomach? What's the story with training and nutrition?
I say what works for me doesn't work for you. So people need to take the time to figure it out. I have clients who won't eat. And I mean, won't eat for hours and hours, maybe 16 hours, whatever. They're like, I'm fasting. I'm like, then you can't come to me. You are going to faint. And it's unfortunately happens. So my thing is I think intermittent fasting is fine. It's great. If you want to stop eating at 10 and maybe not eat again till noon, but make sure that works for you. And so what that means is knowing what your blood pressure is, knowing what your sleep is. You can wear something on your watch. You can wear like one of the rings. Now tell you there's a ring that does it. Just understand the biofeedback of it and eat smart. You know what I mean? So I happen to work out in the morning on coffee, but right after I work out, I eat my protein and a little bit of carbs. I have friends who've gone on these diets per se, okay? And they gained weight. And even though it's a low-cal diet, what was in the meals were not good for them. So my thing is for anybody, eat like a caveman, kind of Mediterranean caveman, let's say, right? If you can pick it, grow it, kill it, hunt it, whatever, those things, and eat what's supposed to be in season. So we live in a country right now, we live in a world that you can get whatever you want when you want it, but it's counterintuitive to who we are as animals. So I say, eat what's in season, know what a portion size is. Just so you know, a palm, 1 palm is your protein size. Okay, that's for, let's say, carbs and proteins, and a thumb is for your fats. So just, there's a basis. Cut down, eat with smaller plates, eat less.
Gotcha.
We eat too much.
Interesting. Never knew that. What's the most overrated exercise that you think? Is there an exercise that's like, just so ridiculously overrated?
It could be any exercise that's not done right.
You have 2 weeks to get in shape. What are you going to do? How do you do it? Can you even do it?
In 2 weeks in shape, it depends what your shape is going into it. So if you are totally freaking out of shape, absolutely not. You can't do it. Right. But if you're in a semi shape, you can get into better shape. So what does it mean? Again, it depends what you want. I would say lift heavier weights and do what's called brick workouts. So do your heavy lifting exercise in the morning and do your running at night. And you don't have to work out a lot. You can do a 30-minute lifting session, a 20-minute lifting session. And if you do an interval running session for 20 minutes at night, that's what you need. Interval training is the key.
Beautiful. So did you ever have a mentor? Do you have a mentor?
I have many mentors, and most of them are not in fitness.
Okay. Friends, family.
Friends. I have some
business.
Kids that are, my friend's daughter who started teaching spinning because of me. Like I look at her now and look at how, and she's maybe 31. So I look at how her career has, she went from being in education to really making an incredible, really movement. Like she left the United States, she went to Dubai for a year and like boxed and did whatever and really worked on herself, came back here and really like built a great, so I think of her as like almost like one of my younger like mentors that I love. But a lot of it has to do with, I look at people who within my age group who's how to, if I can use yours thing, grind and pivot.
Okay, great.
People
Beautiful.
who
Let's hear it. Beautiful.
grind and pivot. And what I say it all the time now because of you. And a lot of it is we each have, like, I know I have a lot of different skills that I can use, but how do I bring it all together? So it's grinding and pit, like every single day, learning something new. Like I just got certified in positive psychology. And now I'm working towards positive intelligence.
What can you identify a pivotal
Yes.
moment in the last,
Yeah.
in your lifetime that really made you take like one way and go to the other?
Oh, 100%. So I realized, well, about, is it 16 years ago, I had an MS episode. So my left side went numb. And I was training for triathlons. I was competing in triathlons and I loved it. Like I felt strong. It was, and I was also doing a lot of philanthropy work at that time. So I was in Florida, soliciting people for their charitable giving. And I was exhausted. And I remember going like, this is not me. Like I have more energy than anybody. And I would take naps and then my foot was numb and I had tingling in my arm. And I was like, wait, there's, and
something going on.
I knew there was something going on. And I was like, oh my God, I'm having a stroke. And then I came home and I saw my doctor, I had an MRI. You go to those places, you go to the deep dark places. And 2 days later, I found out I have a lesion on my brain. And, it's interesting because over 16 years with the MRI machines getting better, like they have a much better understanding of like what's going on in my brain. I do have a brain, by the way. It's a positive brain. It lights up beautifully.
100%. I'm right there. I mean, you did leave it open for me, but I laid off.
I did. So I swooped in there.
Because I love you.
Big love. And so basically what happened was all of a sudden where I had always viewed myself as an athlete, as one of the top 5 things that I described myself as, and somebody who loved athletics, right? So it's both, that my body gave out. It was a pivotal moment because I think like I was in such good shape, this happened. And then you realize how many other people have had similar situations, whether it's a demyelination issue or a heart attack or stroke, or, you can go down the whole line of
Sure.
breast cancer. And the importance of being fit and being healthy really became a pivotal moment. So my doctors always said to me, the reason, and I never, thank God, had another episode. I have residual side effects that affect me, but my doctors always say, if you didn't live the lifestyle that you have been living, who knows where this would have gone. And it opened my eyes to so many things, the importance of moving, right? So here's, like snippet. Here's what I've learned from 16 years ago. Sitting's better than lying down. Standing's better than sitting. Walking's better than standing. And there's a progression, right? And there's a progression that makes you healthier. So if somebody can't stand, there are things that I can do with them now. So I really am incredibly empathetic to where somebody is. And food, the importance of eating well. And listen, 80% of the time I eat well, 20% of the time I throw it out the window because we have one life and I don't want my life to be about deprivation. I want to be like, put more good things in. And so I have to say it was that. It really made me open my eyes to just move, do something, find something that you love, and now, and maybe I'm talking too much, but now it's so much easier. You can put a book on, you could walk and say, I'm going to listen to 2 chapters. Like, that's what I say to my clients. I'm like, go out, put 2 chapters on your book, walk up and down the steps in your apartment building. Like, there are things you can do like I promote so much of what I promote in my workouts, both corporate and individual and group, is you don't need anything but you to be fit.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I've learned a ton just now. I really had no idea. If someone wants to be an accountability coach, how do they do it? How difficult is it? And kind of what are the steps? Because I mean, you're giving an amazing, it's an interesting business idea, and I know you got to kind of love it and feel it, but it's like kind of infectious right now. The way it's contagious. I'm listening. I'm like, wow, this is a cool. Could be a really cool thing to do, but it really does take some seriousness to it, doesn't it?
No, it does. And there are classes, you can do online classes, you get certification classes and there's the depth and breadth of it of what you want to do. So I looked at a lot of the classes, and listen, maybe I'm a cynic by nature a little bit, but I look at a lot of these, for X amount of money, you can become accountability. And like, I look at their way in which they did things and do things, and I'm like, I kind of feel it would pigeonhole into one way of doing things. So what I've done is I went from positive psychology to positive intelligence, and using all these different certifications together to create my own thing. So my thing is, it's like just that is making it up for each of my clients. So it is not a one thing fits all, because it can't be.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're adapting to each person that you're dealing with.
Oh, 100%, which makes it a lot more work than having like a structured like questionnaire all the time. Right. So yeah.
So it's not as easy. It's not as easy as it looks.
No, and it's also mentally really hard, because what I have found, especially because it always has a fitness aspect for me and eating aspect with my clients, is that the hard part is when you're listening to the number of eating disorders that are out there.
Oh yeah.
Of people, women who are in, because most of my clients happen to be women right now, between 50 and 70, and want to look how they look when they were 30. And so there is sometimes a very hard aspect of dealing with people associated with it, and keeping yourself like kind of in check of where you are.
And you have to do that for them, and you kind of have to help them.
I have to do that for my own health and my own sanity.
For sure. What's the future of fitness? What do you think the next big thing is?
I think, and I hope the next big thing in fitness is making shorter classes. So having the classes 30 minutes, because people forgot how to shut down and shut off while during the pandemic. Like, people worked all the time. The number of hours they logged on their computer increased exponentially. I hope that it becomes like people realize that they have that 30 minutes at least to walk away from their computer and walk away from their life and do something that's for them. That's what I think. I think the at-home craze will die down no matter what happens with this next phase of what pandemic and endemic, whatever we're in. I think people want to be with other people.
Cool. What drives you crazy about the fitness world? Are there things that just totally drive you, mad when you read or think about it? Come on, let's give it.
Oh, freaking TikTok. And all these.
All right. Whoa, let's go.
Okay. Because listen, I understand that I understand what it delivers, but the problem is I watch and, everyone's like, oh, I do this workout from TikTok or YouTube. Okay. I do this one. And I look at it. I'm like, okay.
Hold on. This is social media, right? We're going to put social media in there. Put it all in.
Social media.
All right. Go ahead.
And I look at the exercises that they're doing, and some of the exercises are great, but they do them wrong. So the people on the other end, the people who are at home going, I'm going to look, if I do these exercises, I'm going to look like her, which is bullshit a lot of times, right? And the person teaching the class is doing everything wrong. I look and I go, oh my God. Like, and the people who are doing it have no clue they're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I know you're into music. You love to listen, you love to dance, you love to do your thing. What's your favorite track to train to? You have anything you have an Amy
Anything Rihanna.
Eisner-Warshaw? Really?
Anything Rihanna.
Wow. I would never know that. No kidding.
It could be that or Just Fine by Mary J.
So what is your take on social media with the whole, business end of it? Is it something that you have to kind of be on, but it's like a double-edged sword? I'm only asking really because of our demographic. We're a little older, and a lot of stuff that's really happening. The people are a lot younger. But what's your take on social? I always ask everybody this, what their take is on social media.
I think, unfortunately, it's something that we have to do, but I don't really love a lot of it. I have people who I work with and people that I do admire, if it's how they built their business, who are on TikTok and all of this. I don't know. I just don't feel it's me. I happen to like Instagram because I find it a very easy platform to interface with. I don't use it to the best of its ability.
Does it drive you crazy that it might not be what it should be?
But it is what it is. It's like, I know, control the things in life you can control and, let the other stuff go. But I can't, I use it in the way that is comfortable for me. So it might not be the best and might not be right. As you know, my son is in that world and he's always like, Mom, you don't need a YouTube channel or blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I think I need a YouTube channel. And, it's interesting when you're dealing with somebody who's in their mid-20s, have him consult me on what I should be doing. And he's just like, stay in the lane you are.
Right.
I know. Right. And but he's like, stay in the lane that you are because, the people who, based on the number of, subscriber or the number of views I have into the number of people who follow me, he's like, your percentages are really good. And that's what matters. Like I said, I do it and I try to add not just exercises, and I try to just add other things.
Tremendous. Well, I got to tell you, I learned a ton today about really
from you
what you're all about. And I got, full disclosure, I do know you, but I didn't realize about all these things, really intricate, interesting things, especially about being, the accountability and what really goes into it. Any shout outs you want to say, what's coming up in the world for Amy Eisner-Warshaw, so you can, and let us know where we can find you. We'll put all the descriptions and the contact stuff in below, of course, but what do you got to say? Tell us what's cooking for the next round for you.
Oh, thank you. Because there's always something cooking with me. So yes, I am going to be starting helping, teaching, and then hopefully expanding with a company called Board 30. It's a new workout, 30-minute workout. And that is not why I promoted 30-minute classes. I want you guys to know, because I taught 30-minute classes way before this came about. It's a great class using resistance bands. If you watch my workouts, I do use weights, but I also use a ton of resistance bands for people. And yeah, it's Board 30, going to be working in, it's out of the JCC on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, but we will be expanding over the next year with it. And it's really, really exciting. It is 30 minutes. It can be 30 minutes or we're going to have a longer class. Very little gets me sore these days. And I am like, my abs, my arms. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I'm just really excited about, I'm working on putting out actually my own accountability journal that I'm just finishing. And it's called RX Daily, because we all need a different prescription for the day. And figuring out like what it is you need. Do you need less? You need more time reading? Do you need more time socializing? Do you need more sleep? Look at the numbers of where you spend your days, right? And figure it out. So it's all based on, there's 168 hours in a week. What do you do with yours?
Amazing. Well, on that note, you know what? That's a great question. And we're going to revisit that. I'm going to come back to you after that thing is out and we're going to try to get something. I'm going to check it out for sure. But I
You'll
wanna
be
say
one of my
thank you.
first to get it.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you so much, baby. I really appreciate it, taking the time. New York's #1 accountability coach, Amy Eisner-Warshaw, upcoming Board 30, correct? And
Uh-huh.
the special RX Daily Journal. I was listening, and I'm definitely a believer, and I hope you are too. Thanks so much. Have a happy and healthy holiday. So glad to have
Happy,
you on
healthy
here.
holiday. Happy New Year.
Love you.
Love ya.
Closing doors, please.